Friends and colleagues, welcome to our presentation of the 2022 American Bar Association International Human Rights Award. The award was established in 2016 to honor and give public recognition to an individual or organization that has made an exceptional contribution to the advancement of human rights outside of the United States. Awardees are selected by representatives of the ABA Center for Human Rights, which I currently chair, the Rule of Law Initiative, and the sections of international law, litigation, and civil rights and social justice. I would like to thank the selection committee, including CHR representative and committee chair Ginny Sloan, for their excellent work again this year. Our award recipient today is Professor María Soledad Cisternas Reyes, a globally recognized champion of persons with disabilities. She currently serves as the UN Secretary General's Special Envoy on Disability and Accessibility. Before that role, she was chairperson of the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities of the United Nations and a recipient of the National Prize of Human Rights. Her activities with the United Nations have been numerous. She was an expert before the ad hoc committee that developed the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, for which she is also the rapporteur for individual complaints. She is the director of several legal and interdisciplinary projects, as well as author of various publications and exhibitor at national and international conferences. Among the many letters from accomplished human rights leaders advocating her nomination for the award, this excerpt perhaps captures her career best. Quote, Professor Cisternas Reyes is a true pioneer in the field of international human rights law and a champion of the human rights of the most vulnerable populations across the world. Her own lived experience as a blind lawyer, together with her commitment and hard work, has a real impact on the daily lives of the populations she serves. Professor Cisternas Reyes continues to promote and protect all minorities as subjects with human rights and not as objects of charity, end quote. I therefore am honored on behalf of the selection committee and the entities they represent to congratulate Professor Cisternas Reyes on receiving the ABA International Human Rights Award and to thank her for her extraordinary work in advancing human rights for all. Now, we're pleased to hear from Professor Reyes.
Good morning. I thank the American Bar Association for the 2022 International Human Rights Award, recognition that is a high honor for me and I accept with joy. The association, founded in 1878, represents avant-garde and leadership in the exercise of the legal profession, with emphasis on legal ethics and a deep commitment to human rights and the strength of the rule of law. Boutros Ghali pointed out that each cultural era may have its particular way of contributing to the implementation of human rights. Human rights are, by their very nature, involving rights. They are intended to express immutable commitments as well as enunciate a moment of historical consciousness. As a child, my deep conviction in the value of justice was a powerful light that helped me identify my vocation was law. During my years of study, I realized that all the effort was reinforced by the great possibility of open spaces, especially from international law to uninvestigated areas. In my life path, it has been a splendid opportunity to be able to participate in the creation of legal standards in human rights, appreciating over the years that even facing difficult times and even apparent defeats, I have always sought ways to position new legal visions. Participating in the elaboration of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities of the United Nations, CRPD, where I especially remember my contributions in the field of access to justice and political and public participation, meant fulfilling the dreams of change. Without a doubt, law has been a powerful instrument of work. Having been subsequently elected as chair of the CRPD Committee of the UN was an enormous challenge that managed to achieve the expected results, to consolidate in practice the model of human rights of persons with disabilities through the jurisprudence of the treaty body and its general comments, also influencing the genesis of the 2030 Agenda of Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. The innumerable tasks performed in my country and my region also come to my mind, including strategic litigation, research, and normative development. Currently, as a special envoy of the UNSG on disability and accessibility, I have developed projects of raising awareness on a global scale, where it has been a challenge to place legal standards in accessible audiovisual material and in a language understandable by all individuals. All my work has been in permanent contact with persons with disabilities, their representative organizations, civil society in general, and the academic world. It is not possible to forget that more than 1 billion persons in the world have disabilities. 80% of them live in developing countries, and 20% of the poorest persons in the world have disabilities. In addition, there are estimates that 2/3 of the victims of violence and abuse are persons with disabilities. I wish to emphasize that the rights of persons with disabilities are not an island within human rights, but rather integrated standards in that sphere. In other words, the human rights approach for persons with disabilities crosses the social fabric multidirectionally, and therefore its intersectional, interdisciplinary, and intersectoral application is relevant from a gender, childhood, and aging perspective. Something similar occurs with the human rights of older persons, a cause to which I have also dedicated myself in recent years. We must bear in mind that currently there are around 900 million older persons, equivalent to 12% of the world population, and it is estimated that by 2050 there will be 2 billion older persons, equivalent to 22% of the world population. Diversity in society is a part of our reality that day by day is reflected in legal standards. The diversified rights for particular sectors of the population constitute implementation challenges for the states and for the whole society. I am convinced that this perspective reflects the vanguard of social legal evolution in the world, and for this reason it is essential to continue working on this line of human rights linked to sustainable development, which is giving modern democracy's greatest solidity. We are in the era of rights and not of favors. This is the cultural shift towards the inclusive world we desire. Today, I understand why my life has been what it is, and why when I felt that I had no strength to continue, I continued. My independence to advocate for the dignity and rights of several men and women has been a support of my work. Thank God for this. Thanks to ABA members lawyers Javier Vasquez and Rick Atherich for having thought of me for the distinction. I also thank several colleagues who supported this nomination. My gratitude also goes to the American Bar Association Committee for deeming me worthy of this award. I dedicate this award to the millions of persons with disabilities in the different regions of the world, as well as to the older persons, girls, boys, and adolescents. I also dedicate it to so many women who fight day by day on the path of the truth of justice. I would like to make a special mention to Deborah Nix Ross, current president of the ABA, and the other women lawyers who held this position in previous periods, leading the ABA's approach to human rights, together with the lawyers who have several from the presidency. I wish to highlight the role of Diversity and Inclusion Center and its Commission of Disability Rights. I also stress the role of the Advocacy and Initiative section, which includes law and agent topics, among others. For all of you, a spiritual hug. Infinite thanks to my children, my husband, and my life secretary for understanding my heart battles and loneliness, and for accompanying me when they could. Finally, I thank my parents in heaven who helped me grow. Thank you very much.